here's your host of Dustin's Final, Dustin Chafin.
Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show.
Oh, I didn't know you were going to do vocals on it.
You know, I was being spontaneous. Welcome to Dustin's Final. Nobody watches us. But I still seem to get heckled. All right. Bam! What's up, Anthony? Good to see you, buddy.
Good to see you.
How are you, man? Yeah.
I'm good. Can't complain.
Yeah. Got your super couch with your guitars and your...
It's more couch than green screen. I gotta get more of the logo.
That's the name of your new album. More couch than green screen. I feel like that's how your meta brain thinks.
Yeah.
Did you have a good week? Did you do any Zoom shows? What'd you do?
What day is this? Wednesday? Well, I do mine on Mondays. I did the Digital Slumber Party show. And then just hanging out yesterday.
Yeah. I don't think we'll ever come back as comedians. You know what I mean? I think it's...
This is it. I like it. Well, I did some road stuff over the weekend.
Well, that's the conversation I want. Not that you know, that you weren't doing anything. Well, what road stuff you do?
I was in Wyoming. I was in Kapfer, Wyoming.
There you go. All right.
Yeah. I thought being at home was more interesting than being in Kapfer.
Wyoming.
Yeah.
How was the show? What kind of show? Is it like all just you or a couple comics or what?
Yeah, it was like a host and two. I was opening for my friend Cody Woods. You know Cody Woods?
No.
Yeah.
Was that your first road gig back? Is that your first
That was the first road gig, yeah. And first in-person show in I don't know, months.
Inside or outside?
It was inside.
Okay. How are you handling that? Do you they say that COVID didn't really go away. So
yeah, I know. I mean, I'm vaccinated, but I don't know if that's good enough. I'm just trying to pretend it's good enough.
Yeah. I told you about Naples, right? When I said, where my vaxxers at? And it was like 400 people and you hear a pin drop.
Yeah.
I was like 400 people, nobody vaccinated. I was like, great, I'm going to die in Naples. I guess that's what a lot of people aspire to.
Yeah. Well, that's why I didn't ask. I didn't ask them if they were vaxxed. But they looked like artists. You know, so I feel like it was a progressive part of Wyoming.
Okay, I get it. No, I think it's interesting because it's like, you know, just starting to do comedy again is, you know, it's even if we've done it a few times, I feel I'm still rusty. I was at the Improv this weekend and was like, you know, I still find myself, you know, kind of just scatterbrained on stage. And then I also feel that people don't want to, I don't know. It's like, I'm always wondering if people want to hear pandemic stuff or if they want to like just kind of check out. Did you do mostly songs or did you do a lot of the stand-up stuff?
I did probably, I think I did half and half. So, but I didn't do any pandemic material. Yeah. And it was, you know, I'm feeling a little rusty on stage too, because I mostly have spent this time writing and not kind of hammering out and tightening the set. Yeah. So it was kind of a nice excuse to not do a ton of the old material from before. Yeah. And do, you know, some of the stuff that I've been working on in the last few weeks and months.
Yeah, I'm trying to get excited about it. I have a lot of really cool road stuff coming up and stuff, but I really just would rather just, you know, keep the Zoom alive. I really feel that the Zoom comedy show is where it's at. And I'm really hoping that people gravitate towards it and don't give up on it because I'm literally free balling right now. And that's the way showbiz should be. It's just amazing.
Yeah.
Well, we're all in 4 different places. Like, I don't understand why that didn't get people didn't get more excited about that.
It's great.
The personal connection, I don't know, man. I don't know.
I could never connect to people on a personal level anyway.
I know. My Zoom album was way better than my live in-person album. I felt way more connected. So I don't know. Well, today, let's start off a little bit with somebody I would feel would be an influence for you because he's a guy that kind of takes a different approach to comedy. It's kind of cerebral kind of view on bits and comedy, adds music to his act. And Steve Martin is my
Steve Martin,
favorite comedians. This album is kind of just a Wild and Crazy Guy, which, such a fun album. And all the stuff on here, it's got King Tut, which was just huge when I was a kid.
The
King
Tut.
It was such a big kind of just like song that was played on the radio. Everybody was, I remember the talent show. 4 guys did the King Tut, thing, and it was like it was just huge. And my favorite part is like during, Steve Martin's this time in his life, he was playing arenas.
Yeah.
And a lot of some of this album's recorded the Astrodome and stuff. And he had a really funny bit where he's just like, he's trying to do like a club thing in an arena. He's like, so how many people have cats? And it was like and everybody's like, ah! And he goes, okay, 6. And then he's like, goes in. It's just like shit like that. It's just so funny. And just such a, just a burst of just kinetic energy, was Steve Martin. And, I'm really fond of this album, and it's a big part of my childhood. And, it was just like when comedy was just like, it didn't fucking matter. There were no rules. Like you could just do whatever. You could put on bunny ears, you could put an arrow through your head. Like he was doing with the white suit and everything. And he's got a good biography that came out, talks about his life and how he started out as a magician at like Disneyland and stuff like that. Yeah. And just an interesting guy, and ended up being kind of one of the more prolific artists, of writing scripts and books and things like that. But this album, it's just a whole lot of fun. It's, his philosophy religion bit is hilarious. That's on here. And, it's the whole, like, just in case kind of, thing that a lot of people do, but it's so funny. And Cat in Handcuffs, Naive Americans, all this stuff is really good. So this is my comedy album for the day. Steve Martin, Wild and Crazy Guy. And that sketch was so funny on Saturday Night Live.
Dan
Aykroyd. I was surprised he never made that a movie. Like I was just like, somebody missed a whole lot of money there.
I know they did Night at the Roxbury as a movie.
That's not it. These guys were hilarious.
They should have done that one.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even Coneheads. I would have rather seen Wild and Crazy.
Yeah, that's a pretty bad movie too. What's your favorite Saturday Night Live movie? Like it's off a character.
Well, Wayne's World is my favorite.
Wayne's World. That's a good one.
And that was the era of Saturday Night Live that I grew up on.
Yeah, I'm going to go Blues Brothers. I think that's my favorite. Blues
Brothers is a good one too. Yeah.
Very fun stuff. All right. And our, let's see, singer-songwriter, I'm going to today for Americans, Bob Seger, Silver Bullet Band. This is Stranger in Town. This is, such a great album. This is probably one of the most played albums in my collection. Like I just play this thing over and over.
Yeah?
Such a good Hollywood Nights, still the same. Old time rock and roll. I mean, every song on here is great. There's not a bad song on this album. And,
what's the name of the album?
It's Stranger in Town. It's one of the more popular Bob Seger albums. So do you not know this album? It's really good.
I don't know it. No.
Well, old time rock and roll. Take those old records off the shelf.
Oh yeah, I didn't know that was him.
It's a Tom Cruise where he's dancing in the Risky Business.
Yeah, that's him.
Yeah, you should know Bob Seger. This is a music show, Anthony.
I didn't know that was Bob Seger.
This is a legend. All right, this is Bob Seger. Were you playing some Bob Seger? Were you playing?
Is that old time
rock and roll?
Something like that, right?
Not really, but I appreciate you trying.
That's just on the top of my head trying to figure it out.
It's all right. I mean, come on. How are you going to do that? Like right now, you're going to learn it? Come on, you got to hear it first. So I want to listen to it.
I like to learn songs before I hear them the first time.
Want to? Yeah, that's hilarious. You're like, yeah, I'm gonna try. Is this it? You're like, dude, you've never heard it, and you're like, just hoping that maybe it sounds like it. Well, most rock and roll, you can kind of do that with. To be honest. Yeah. That right there has been in 90 songs. Yeah. Like, there's 90 songs where that's in there. But yeah, Bob Seger's the shit, man. It's like really, just soothing 70s music. And my mom played the hell out of this 8-track in her Caprice Classic. And so she had like 4 8-tracks, and it was like Janis Joplin, Pearl, Bob Seger and the Silver Bullet Band, and like 2 Cheech and Chong 8-tracks. And that's the life I grew up on. So yeah,
Cheech and Chong's greatest hit. I think was the.
Yeah, it was a couple of them. And they don't make albums like that anymore. Like I told you we should try to do that. Try to do like a sketch album. It's like
I would do it. I love the sketch.
I love it too.
Yeah,
like Monty Python did them.
Yeah, Monty Python. I feel like the last ones I heard were like the Adam Sandler ones where he would do skits and songs.
Oh, in between, yeah. Well, even like Eminem does like skits, and a lot of hip hop artists actually do skits in between their stuff.
Keeping the skits alive.
Yeah,
Monty Python.
Keeping the skits alive.
Do one.
That's it. That's the name of the album. Keeping the skits alive.
Keeping the skits alive.
Very cool. So, well, you know what? Fuck it. Let's start the show, everybody. Welcome to Dustin's Vinyl. Take it away, Anthony. Yeah. Bring in my co-host, Jeffrey Paul and Adam Holt.
Hello, gentlemen.
What's up, guys?
Hey, guys.
Like my
How is
shirt?
everyone?
It's very vinyl. Look at that. That's that plastic thing.
Oh, yeah, the little 45 thing.
Yeah.
Do those have names? What are those things
What
called?
is it? I don't know what it's called. Adam, what's this called? Find out.
Look that up. Little 45 thing.
The little plastic thing in the 45s. I know Jeff knows what it is. He's old like me. He knows it.
I used to have those. I used to sell them.
Oh, you
used to sell those?
Just
I
on
used
the
to own a
street?
record store.
Oh, I love you. I love you just
sold
selling
everything.
those. I love you just selling those in Times Square.
Yeah, the
opened your
whole
jacket.
store was just those.
Yeah.
We were very specific on what we sold.
Probably got a good
33s, only 45s.
Probably got a good deal on these. Like,
Yes,
good thing to sell. Yeah.
You can make almost a dime on those. Holy shit.
Walk us through your record store, Jeffrey Paul. I want to know what it looked like. I want to know what was your emphasis? Like, talk to me.
What was it called?
I can show you a little picture of it.
No, well, talk to me. I like words.
No, he's already gone.
I like words. Talk to me. Okay. So
Yeah,
see
you
the
can see
picture.
that.
Let's see the picture.
All right. That's
Next
cool.
time we could send that to somebody so they can put it on the screen.
That is
there
actually
we go.
a young Jeffrey Paul with
Which one are you?
That's you in the middle?
I'm in the middle,
Oh,
and I'm
okay.
with.
Let's see it again.
And I'm with AJ Perro from Twisted Sister and Eddie Ojeda from Twisted
That's
Sister.
amazing.
Wow.
You're so
And that's
skinny there, dude.
Look at the poster that's in
You're
the background.
you're like a wiry little dude, man. It's great.
I was
love
maybe
it.
about 180
Oh wow. Okay.
back in the day.
For your height, that's pretty thin.
Yeah. About 180 back in the day. And you saw in the background, the picture was the Footloose soundtrack.
How much did your mustache weigh in that picture?
It's almost like a John Waters type of mustache.
Oh, it's a little one? Okay.
Oh, just a little skinny pencil.
The albums in the background were Maiden, Power Slave, Bon Jovi, the second album, 78 Degrees Fahrenheit, Triumph, Crocus. And then I also had, if you look over here, it's a Planet Patrol.
Oh, okay.
Planet Patrol
and Sade. So we sold a little bit of everything.
Okay,
You
so
know?
it's just kind of popular hits and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
What's the name of the store?
What's the name of the
called
store?
First Time Records.
First Time Records.
First Time Records. And that's how I put myself through school as a college student.
That's
I
amazing.
used to work in a record store and I did everything for this guy. And I had saved some money to go away on vacation to Florida, and I was going to buy a car. And instead, I took the money and invested into this little record store, and I expanded it out.
That's great.
You made enough money working at a record store to own your own record store?
Yeah. Well, the thing is, I had always hustled. I had always hustled. There's never been a time in my life where I didn't work, multiple jobs, or be involved in different things.
So you're selling drugs at the same time?
Yeah, I was stealing drugs. Well, what I did to make money real fast was I used to do sheetrock, and I used to when I was in high school and college, I learned how to sheetrock and tape and stuff. So I used to work with this guy, and when everybody else was maybe making at the time good money would have been like $5 an hour, I was making 12.
Wow.
Doing that type of stuff. And it was all cash.
Nice. That's a real man, Anthony.
Yeah.
It's doing what you
That's
got.
what I hear.
I don't know if you can tell, but I never got made it or got by on my good looks. So I had to kind of
I'm the opposite. I got a big dick. I never had to sign a lease. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I wish I had your problems.
Anthony too. You don't look like that and like not have a big dick.
If you want to live.
Exactly.
So a couple of things, Dustin.
Well, first of all, before we start, somebody asked me, "What's the favorite Coop album?" What is
K-pop
that?
album?
K-pop. Oh, geez, I can't read this. Oh, K-pop.
K-pop.
What's yours, Adam?
Oh, I don't think I've even listened to any K-pop.
Who just throws that in there? Like they just
It's a weird question to ask him with this, especially on the show.
and especially because I have to Google K-pop. All right.
I mean, wouldn't everybody say like, who's that guy? Psy? He's a Gangnam Style guy.
Oh, that's the only one that I could really name offhand.
That's K-pop? Is that what that is? I don't even know.
It's
Somebody's just trying to make
Korean
it
pop.
Yeah, I think it's just a goof.
Korean pop.
It's Korean pop. That's what K-pop is.
Somebody's
there's
trying.
that- where's that
Probably
band?
Barry Ribs or somebody. K-pop. I'm looking it up. K-pop
something
album.
group. You know, they have some big hits.
Nobody has a favorite K-pop album. Like that's never happened. I think
Especially
Go
It's hard to
Live.
pick just one, you know.
Go Live is good, right? Stray Kids or something? No, I don't know.
Okay.
I have no idea.
BTS is the
Yes.
big one.
Yeah, the
I
big
always
one.
see them trending on Twitter, but I never heard
Yes.
any of their stuff.
I mean, no, you've definitely heard them on the radio. They're on commercials. They're huge.
Yeah. Well, what's your favorite one? Whoever asked that question.
Yeah, where do we start? If we're looking to get into K-pop, where should we start?
Look at Anthony getting
Sound
aggressive. I like it. Riding me on that aggressiveness. I love it. I teach this kid how to stand up for himself. Okay, what is it? K-pop? What do you got? Nobody. They're not gonna say anything. They're just trying to fuck with us.
They're probably gone.
They're gone.
All right,
Watching
Jay
another
Dies
Twitch
Lot
show
says,
asking the same question.
Jay Dies Lot says Blackpink is awesome.
Okay.
There's I don't know. I'm looking at a guide right here. It says a starter's guide to getting into K-pop.
You know what? I don't need to get into K-pop.
Anthony's still gonna like it better than the John Mellencamp album. That's for sure.
There's no accounting for taste
Better
there.
than Mellencamp.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Before we get, go ahead, Jeff. You were going to say something up top.
I just wanted to piggyback on a couple of things you said. First of all, Anthony, you got to get to know Bob Seger, man. And out of Detroit, he was he is responsible. He taught Glenn Frey how to write songs. He's one of the most revered songwriters. I think on this album, Feels Like a Number. It's like maybe like one of my favorites.
Yeah, it's a good. There's not actually. They're all my favorites. They're so good. This whole album. This one one after another. So good.
Yeah, that's one where you don't have to skip a track. And Steve Martin. I mean, I don't know. You guys may be a little bit younger, like Anthony, right, and Adam, but Dustin and I will tell you, man, there was nothing big. Everybody in school would be going, excuse me.
Yeah.
Everybody. The reason why they never did The Two Wild and Crazy Guys as a movie, I just was listening to this on Stern. He was playing old interviews, and I was just listening to Steve Martin, and he said that it was Danny's character, and they just never felt that it could hold and carry a movie for an hour and a half. But but Steve Martin, incredibly huge, tremendous.
Oh yeah, and that album's great. And then what's the Let's Get Small? I think
Let's Get Small.
That one is great too. I had both of those on vinyl.
Yeah,
somewhere I have them.
Wow.
Well, I think what happens too in comedy, and this will kind of segue into the next thing we're going to talk about, but I feel like once in a while, what happens is comedy it comes in these waves where it's like. It becomes this intense thing where, you have to say things or you have to be cutting edge or you have to take it to another level of kind of social commentary and, like George Carlin and Richard Pryor. And then you have, sometimes it just needs to be fun. It just needs to kind of break away from that. Yeah. And I think it's like, that's why, it's fun when that happens, so, and I feel Steve Martin just kind of made it fun again. So that's what's so good about this album. Very cool.
And he was very meta, which I love. A lot of meta stuff.
We know you love that. You are meta. Holy shit,
it's
are you
such
meta?
A different choice of every one who we really spoke about when we talked about albums like like last week, Dick Gregory and Kennison, and even Stephen Wright to a degree, not to as degree as the other guys.
I think it's similar to Stephen Wright. I think it's very similar.
I think you nailed it when you said It's silly. It's funny.
Yeah.
It's, you know,
Well,
it's
Stephen
it's,
Wright's
it's a
silly
good
too.
time.
Yeah. Stephen Wright's
Yeah.
silly too. It's just a deadpan delivery. But I mean, whereas Steve Martin's about the performance and the you know, the props and you know, it's just a little over the top. But yeah, sometimes you need silly, you know.
Yeah, he was an entertaining guy, and like back in the day, man, he was as big an act as anybody in the business.
Yeah, he's fantastic. Steve Martin. So we're gonna talk about our first comedy album. We're gonna discuss today is one of my favorite comedians. Jeff likes to use the phrase underrated. I feel this is a comic that should be in more conversations as the greatest living or not living comedians that we've ever had in America. Doug Stanhope, who I think is just phenomenal human being. I've had the pleasure of meeting him and working with him and talking to him and kind of just, you know, being around watching like sets and with like 40 people in the crowd and kind of, you know, watching him kind of just discover things on stage and just, he's so rock and roll and just out of his mind and takes these risks that so many people could not get away with taking. And I pride myself in being kind of a guy that can say a lot of stuff a lot of people can't say. But this guy, I mean, he just really has really nailed it. And this album, No Refunds, is one of my favorites. All his albums are fantastic. The albums up, you know, a couple albums before this are so good too. But this album is great. You know, he has such a love-hate, you know, relationship with New York City and the fact that he recorded it in New York City. And he just opens trashing New York City and closes saying, fuck the Yankees. So it's just this like, go fuck yourself attitude. Talk about punk rock. And there's no more, you don't get more punk rock than Doug Stanhope, in my opinion. And it's just full of this like energy of rage. And then he makes like a fetus bit hilarious and like things like that you can, abortions and things. It's just such a fun, just ridiculous out. If you're a comic, you really get how funny this is. If you're somebody that maybe you're not familiar with stand-up comedy or you don't watch a lot of it or you're not a comic, then I could see you kind of being like, I don't get why this is so, you know, whatever. But, you know, and I remember, and I've heard people say things like that he's anti-Semitic and stuff like that, and anti-Semitic and stuff. And I, you know, one of the comedy clubs I worked at, one of the guys that owned it was like, and I said, no, man, I go, you got to hear the bit. The bit is about people that identify themselves with their religion or their race or whatever. That's what the bit is. And so, and then like, he really nails that whole concept of like people just identifying themselves with their sign or whatever, or their religion or race, because they're not interesting enough to have something else to talk about. And so, anyway, I'm excited to open this up with you guys, but I love Doug. I think his comedy is fantastic. And I got a shout out on Doug on Howard Stern once. I don't know if you heard it, Jeff, when they were coming down on him about defending Johnny Depp. But I got interviewed in the Post, and they were saying that Doug Stanhope was, you know, just lying, just trying to get fame through Johnny Depp. And I said, let me tell you, and I said in an article, I said, you've obviously never heard Doug's act if you think he's trying to get famous. Because he's doing the opposite. Anyway, they played it on Stern or whatever. But I love Doug Stanhope. No Refunds. That's the album today. So, yeah, let's talk about it, guys.
I just heard you get a shout out on Rogan a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, Rogan, Stern. I get a lot of shout outs. I'm kind of this guy. I'm this guy.
Yeah, Nate Bargatze was on and he brought you up.
Yeah, a lot of people talk about me, you know.
Yeah,
it's like Pete Holmes, and you guys are lucky that I'm around, because that's the reason. That's why they're talking about me, because I'm laying it for you guys to get, you know, I'm laying the trees down.
Not talking about me and Adam.
I'm talking about you for sure. Maybe not Adam.
Yeah, I'm glad you recommended this album. You know, it's been a while since I listened to Doug Stanhope, and I think everything you said is right. I hate when people get offended by words and don't, you know, they hear a word, but they don't listen to what is actually being said. And I think the genius on this album is the longest cut on the album, Jew, and the shortest cut on the album, National Pride, are both hit home. Phenomenal bits. In fact, I was listening to it, I think the last night on Monday, and all I've been doing is just repeating it in my head, just how how smart these bits are. Like you're right, and people who wear their identity, their religion as their identity, and that's all they have, and just how the bit about on national pride, which is a minute and 47 seconds, and he just really wraps it up clearly when he's talking about the French, how we won the war. We won the war. I don't remember.
Yeah.
It's such he was really, really great. And I hadn't listened to this in such a long time, and I'm glad it refreshed my memory.
Yeah, it's so good. And it's funny. It's like I had such a hard time getting sober because of Doug Stanhope. Like I would, because I would stop drinking, and then I'd be like, okay, I'm gonna be sober comic. Then I'd watch him and be like, fuck that. That's the way to go. It's like, this guy's rock and roll. He's just getting drunk and grabbing it and seeing what happens, and then I'd see him on the Late Show and be like, oh, okay, maybe I should sober up. But yeah, well, that one bit that he does about Secret to Success is so funny. He's just like, it's like, the drugs and alcohol. Yeah, it's like I drink alcohol. I do drugs to open my mind. I smoke cigarettes to focus so I can write it down in a comedy-friendly way. And then I drink so I have the courage to perform the material. I just think that's the greatest, just way to kind of sum it all up in this thing. And it's so fucking funny.
Trifecta.
Yeah. Anthony, what'd you think about this album and Doug Stanhope's comedy?
I liked it a lot. I listened to it, the other day, but I think I saw this. This is the special that I saw in 2007 or 2008 or something. Okay. Which was like a couple of years before I was even doing comedy. And I liked it. I think he's he's almost like the blueprint of what most people think a stand-up comic should be. I think when people go to a stand-up comedy show, they expect what he's doing.
Do they? I always think they expect Seinfeld, and this is what they should be more into. I think this is what I want, but I don't know if it's everybody's cup of tea. I don't think this is what people think. I think most people think of somebody a little friendlier than Doug Stanhope.
John Mulaney maybe.
Yeah, I mean he's close to Carlin and stuff, but I don't think even Carlin. I don't think that's what people think of when they go say, let's go see some comedy. I don't think they're going to see a guy go talk about abortion for 15 minutes. And how there's a dead fetus and a baby and I don't think that's what people think of. I mean, I would hope that they would see him and get converted, but I don't think that's really what people think of. I mean, just because people, they just think it's
maybe
more.
You're right. I think that when I started doing comedy, I think he might have been kind of what all the comics were trying to be.
Oh, absolutely. There's three guys that get really hacked. It's Mitch Hedberg, David Tell, and Doug Stanhope. And those three are the three most hacked comics, I think.
What about Bill Hicks?
Close. I guess it's close to that. Yeah. I mean, I think it's hard to hack Bill Hicks, but I feel like, but yeah, people try, I guess, Bill Hicks. You would be in that conversation, I guess, but Doug Stanhope to me is as good as Bill Hicks, in my opinion. And I think Bill Hicks just happened to die. He just happened to die. I mean, and they make him a legend because that's what we do in art. But not that he wasn't great. Bill Hicks is amazing, but
I'd rather listen to Stanhope than Bill Hicks.
Agreed.
Yeah, there's 3 albums. Those 3 Bill Hicks albums are pretty amazing. Rant in C minor and I forget what the first one is, but his first 3 albums are amazing. And then it's just like anybody else. He gets a little too caught up in himself. But he was actually groomed to be the next Bill Maher. They were going to do a show like that. They were going to do a political issue show, and it was going to be, Bill Hicks and that kind of thing. And then, he died of cancer. But
was this after Tough Crowd?
No. This is before. This. Okay. It was supposed to be Tough Crowd with Bill Hicks kind of thing. I don't know if it was the same name or whatever, but they were, they took off that blueprint from the Bill Hicks show and then became Tough Crowd. Yeah.
Oh,
but yeah. So, but Adam, how do you feel about this album and Doug Stanhope?
I enjoyed it. This is the first time I listened to this album. I've heard Doug Stanhope before, but I think this album is hysterical. I think it's accurate. And what you guys were saying before, I know when I go to a comedy club, especially in New York, I expect the acts to be kind of similar to this. Especially especially in the 2000s, going to
Well, you're a connoisseur a little
cellar.
bit. You're like a connoisseur. You're different than most people. You know what I mean? You know who John Coltrane is. Like, you're a different guy. You're not some fucking family from Wichita. You know what I mean? Like, that's.
Oh yeah, family from Wichita doesn't want.
Right. And I think it's definitely regional, especially in New York City.
Yeah.
You know, you could go to Skankfest or go to go to the cellar, or go to some.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if I put them in the league of Stanhope because I groomed half those guys. But yeah, let's not bring Luis Gomez into this fucking conversation, please. Jesus Christ. But
watch out. His Twitter fan base. His minions will come after me.
He's been following Twitter.
Yeah. Well, apparently he's opening a club in Manhattan. So
I gotta say though, on this album, especially like Sanitized Generation, is just so accurate. I mean, there's just no
how
fun.
Great is that?
There's no fun in America right now.
Fun.
And he was talking about that like 14 years ago.
Well, the only thing that dates this is MySpace. Like, he brings up MySpace.
He says it a lot. He says it a lot.
That's the only time. Like, otherwise you'd be like, this was recorded yesterday. But then he'll bring up MySpace and you're like, oh, okay, this is a long time ago, which makes it even cooler because it sounds so relevant, you know?
Right.
And,
because the stuff he's talking about is like what now people would be saying, like PC culture or woke or whatever.
And everybody's trying to write a bit about the immigrants. I've heard people doing new bits about like the immigrants taking your job, and if they're taking your job and maybe your life is shitty, whatever. Like, that whole bit was great. Like
Geraldo.
Yeah, I mean, this around the same time. I think that was close to the same time when Geraldo did that bit. But yeah, and he's also coming from a Mexican American view, so I'm not going to say that Stanhope took that from him, but because I think even Stanhope did a fucking Bill Hicks thing that I always thought, but I don't want to get into that. People hacking people, but anyway, it was that bit about, remember the Bill Hicks bit where it's like the guy walked by and he goes, heroin, he walked by, cocaine. Then when he walked by me, he goes, glue. He's like, man, I can afford heroin, Geraldo did something similar, but we've all had that experience. In drugs in Manhattan, but that's another thing. Let's talk about that. Like, Doug Stanhope is a guy that, I think 80% of the comics, get sober and get their life together. And I don't know where Doug Stanhope is now. He might be sober. I think he tried or whatever, but it's interesting where, people say that drugs and, being fucked up on stage is like, it's not a good thing. But then, then you see a guy like this and he's able to kind of just tap into these things and motions and just his performance. It's just, it's hard to argue if being sober is always the best thing for performance, and I don't know. I think a lot of times he's fucked up when he's on stage and it's just like magic and I hate him for it. I'm banned at comedy clubs because I'm fucking bringing chicks up and showing their tits on stage. I mean, when you can't get into a club in Alaska, you had a problem. You can't return, So I was like, really? So, but I don't know. Have you guys seen him live? Anybody seen him in clubs or anything?
I have not.
He's good. Yeah. He used to go down to Comedy Village, which was the Boston Comedy Club, and then turned into Comedy Village. He was there quite a bit.
Yeah.
But he's great, man. He's definitely he's a guy that more people should talk about. Anybody out there in Twitch land? Are you guys Doug Stanhope fans? And does he offend you? Do you think he's relevant? Do you think he's great? Talk to me. Anybody, give me something from the Twitch land. Even if it's Jay, just give me something.
And no questions about K-pop.
Right.
No K-pop.
Yeah, come on.
Well,
he's the K-pop of comedy.
That already.
Well, that viewer came back and said BTS is the best. Just wanted to mess with the old guys.
Hey, come on.
Yeah.
But okay. For we got Aid Deceit says Doug is too smart for mainstream.
Well, let's get back to the guy that thinks we're old. Let me tell you something, you little punk. You're not better than me because your dad came in your mom later than he did mine. You know what I mean? Like,
Nice.
you hope you're this fucking cool one day. Let me tell you. All right. I guarantee I'm way cooler than your dad. All right. Anyway. Too smart. That's what was the statement again?
That Doug is too smart for the mainstream.
I don't think he's too smart. I think I don't know. I mean, I think he has a huge fan base, and it's kind of one of those things where it's, he may not have the same fan base as an Adler or something, but, also, Doug's made a lot of choices too to not be mainstream. I wrote a TV pilot thing and I want him to host it. He was like, I'm not doing TV anymore. And because he got burned on, what was that show with, it was on Comedy Central, The Man Show. Like he did. He was the co-host on The Man Show. And I think he got kind of, he just didn't like that the atmosphere of television and kind of, doing that. I think he just wanted to be a stand-up. But he even tried to run for president as a libertarian. And he did. And then they told him that he couldn't do stand-up while he was running. I wish somebody had told Stacey Pressman that. But she
End the show. That's it.
Drop the mic. But
it's not getting better than that, folks.
Stacey Pressman, we love her. She's running for mayor. She's a comedian. She's a sweetheart. She's a sweetheart. Anyway, but yeah, so Dick Gregory, we didn't talk about that last week. Dick Gregory tried to run for president too. I think that's like a thing comics do sometimes when they're like political comics. I'll just run for president.
Yeah, Stern tried to run for governor.
Stern, and I don't know. I guess it's still a microphone, still money in a mic. So I get it. I get why it's appealing. All right, cool. Anything else from the fanos? If not, we'll just kind of get into the next segment, which is going to be hilarious.
See, your mom's arch enemy says, I say F the Yankees all the time. I got to agree. I'm a Yankee fan, and I always say fuck the Yankees, especially now. They're just terrible this season. But, let's see what else. Jay dies a lot. Stanhope can't offend Twitch. I think he would be the perfect comedian for Twitch.
He has an open invitation to come on this show.
I don't think Doug needs this show, but
I don't know. He could be listening.
I don't know if he is the perfect comic for Twitch. I've talked to the producers on this show, and somebody got in trouble for saying something. So I don't know if that's always the case. And we can't even play music, so I don't know if Twitch has as much liberties as they think they do. Yeah. Give us some license to play some tunes, and then don't get offended when we say transgendered, and then maybe we'll talk. So I think Doug Stanhope would last 3 minutes on Twitch. But we love him. All right, let's talk about it. Jeff, bring us in. It's a weird transition.
Here we go, folks. We were going to talk about this last week, but we're going to talk about it this week. We're talking about Americana. We're talking about American songwriters. And this guy here, according to Johnny Cash, called him one of the 10 best songwriters who've ever lived.
Johnny.
In 2008, he was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. In 2016, inducted into the Songwriters Hall of Fame. We're talking about the man who was born in Seymour, Indiana. He was born in a small town of less than 1,600 people.
I bet he's going to also die in a small town.
That's just be all right for him. Okay. When he was born with spina bifida, and in this small hospital, 4 other kids had it. 3 of them died. He made it. And
wow, imagine how bad those other 3 would be at making music.
But we're going to talk about the album from John Cougar Mellencamp. The last time he was referred to as John Cougar Mellencamp. The album we're talking about is a 1985 release, his 7th studio album, peaked at number 2. We are talking Scarecrow. John Cougar is sometimes looked upon as divisive. Sometimes he's looked as being frivolous. But others, like Willie Nelson, like Johnny Cash, revere him, look at him on the level of a Springsteen and a Bob Dylan as a songwriter. But this is a guy who has matured as he wrote, as he evolved as a songwriter, he matured. This album is Americana. This album is folk. it's blues, it's country. I love this album. I think Scarecrow is easily one of his three best albums. I get mixed. I like Lonesome Jubilee as well. But he was on a roll at this point because in 1981, he had come out with American Fool. American Fool spawned the hits like Hurt So Good, Jack and Diane, Hand to Hold On To. His follow-up album, 1983's that's where he has Pink Houses, an Authority song, Crumbling Down. But then he starts to really, take in what the landscape of America is in 1985. And Scarecrow is different. Scarecrow involves more folk elements in it. You have a harmonica. You have stool pedals, more acoustic guitar. There is no synthesizers in this album. Lyrics-wise, it is social, it is political, and let's break it down with some of the tunes here. Okay, I think the best song and the most political is "Rain on the Scarecrow." It's a dark song. It's about what was going on with the farmers in the country, which spawned the whole Farm Aid thing that he does with Willie Nelson and I don't know who the other guy. Yeah, I think it was him, Willie Nelson. There was somebody else involved in that. But he talked about the farm foreclosures that hit in middle America in the 80s. It's a song that makes a big political and economic statement. And he's not fucking around in this song. Like one of my favorite lyrics of all time is when the auctioneer says, "Hey, John, man, it's just my job." And he goes, "Hey, calling it your job sure doesn't make it right. But if you want me to, I'll say a prayer for your soul tonight." That's a great lyric, man. It's like he's not giving this guy any leeway. It's a great, great song. Anthony, you're smirking. What don't you like about this song?
Anthony, what do you think? Yeah, I was hoping to do that. But anyway, go ahead.
I think the whole album sounds lame. I just
How's
don't.
it sound lame? I'm not going to attack you. Go ahead.
No, attack him. That's the show. I love it. We need some heat on. We need some heat on this show.
In a boxing ring.
Yeah, I know we said it. We said it last time, but I think since we're talking about it, I'm going to say it again.
He's going to do the joke again. Do it again.
If Bruce Springsteen is the boss, then John Mellencamp is the assistant manager.
Even that, you know what? If you're going to make that joke, then at least say he's the customer. Why would he be the assistant manager?
Yeah.
If the assistant manager, at least he's in a position of authority. He's going to move up. He go win Employee of the Month.
Is that really what we're striving for? I don't know.
Yeah.
There's growth there, and it's just
growth potential. I mean, if he did what you did with the record store, I guess he would be the boss eventually.
He could. And also, you're going to throw in Bruce Springsteen, the biggest fucking fraud on the planet. Yeah,
I hate Bruce Springsteen.
I am the working man.
You called Bruce Springsteen a fraud? I thought you were like a huge fan.
I thought you liked him.
I'm a fan, but this is what pisses me off about Springsteen. I'm the working man. I'm for the everyday guy, but I'm going to do a show on Broadway and the lowest ticket's going to be $8.50. Go fuck yourself. That's
not
so uncool.
One artist who's not fake. Johnny Cash never went to prison. He never watched a man in Reno to die. He knew his father.
But those were songs. It's his whole image, and you're gonna do it for the people. But not everyone can afford an $850 lowest ticket. Right. Yes, not John Cougar though.
Yes, he is.
He's the real deal.
Authentic, baby.
He's all.
So, do you call him John Cougar? You don't call him John Mellencamp?
Here's the thing.
I call him JCM.
He didn't want to be called John Cougar.
Like
the
JC
record
Penny,
company called him John Cougar. They didn't think Mellencamp was going to be a sellable name. So as he
I don't like that about him. I don't like that he listened to some record thing for his name.
He had no other choice, Dustin. They really basically told him either we release the album as John Cougar or we drop you from the label. This is a guy that was struggling, and he's like, he's going to compromise. But as soon as that's why I mentioned those two albums before, American Fool, and then after this is the last album where he's known as John Cougar Mellencamp. And then after this was Lonesome Jubilee, and he became John Mellencamp. And he records for Polydor Records, which is a huge label. And there was a memorandum that went around Polydor where it said, if you refer to him as John Cougar, you're getting fired. He did not want to be called John Cougar. He wanted to always be known as John.
I think he's kind of the K-pop of folk music.
Not K-pop.
So when this album came out originally, was it John Cougar or was this?
It was John Cougar Mellencamp.
Oh, so this came out during the
American Fool was
in-between.
John Cougar.
So he did a couple as John Cougar. Then he was Cougar Mellencamp for one album, two albums.
And now he's old like us. He's a cougar. So
dating Meg Ryan.
How long was the Cougar Mellencamp?
Is he dating Meg Ryan?
Yes,
Meg Ryan.
Good question. He is John Cougar Mellencamp for 3 albums.
All right, I want the Meg Ryan information. Is he dating her?
Yeah. What about the Meg Ryan
He's dating Meg Ryan.
Now?
Well, Dustin wants to know. Yes, he's dating her now.
See, Meg Ryan and like Sleeps in Seattle. That would I'd be impressed with. I don't know about now.
Okay, have you seen what John Cougar looks like
now? A lot
now?
of plastic surgery. Yeah. Did he date somebody really hot before that? Did he date like some like
he dated
Cindy
one of the
Crawford
models
or somebody? Did he date somebody?
No, that
like
was Richard Gere.
No, I don't know. I thought he dated somebody hot. Who did he date?
He did date.
Let's make this one of those gossip shows, Adam. Like, tell me who is John Cougar Mellencamp? Who has he dated? Who has he banged? Who's he shagged? Sorry, it's Twitch. I don't want to offend the K-pop audience. We don't treat women like
Dustin,
that.
I would think you would like appreciate John Cougar Mellencamp on this album.
Okay. I don't dislike John Cougar Mellencamp. I feel he's one that got a little overplayed in my upbringing.
A little overrated.
He's not overrated.
You know what it was too. There's a very limited opportunity for guys doing this kind of music, and I feel very few people got picked. And I think a guy like this kind of got plucked up. Where I feel there was probably like 20 other guys, that were doing this kind of music, this folk kind of stuff. There's probably just as good, but a guy gets, one guy gets it and 10 don't. I understand the business. Comedy's the same way, but Jack and Diane, I think, that's kind of where I start to get excited about John Mellencamp, that particular song. I'm not saying he's a one song wonder, but for me, it's the song, that
song was supposed to be about.
What's up?
That song was, it says Jack and Diane, and Jackie was a football star. What that song initially was supposed to be about, it was supposed to be about an interracial couple, but the label wouldn't let him release it that way, and he had to change the lyrics.
Yeah, he makes a lot of decisions based on record companies and guys in suits.
So does every artist.
Not all of them. Not Doug Stanhope.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, maybe not as much now because people produce their own stuff.
Right. There's no record labels anymore.
It's different than it used to be. But yeah, Twisted Sister would have been a better band if they, hadn't listened to all the record stuff.
You have sometimes an A&R guy leads you down the right path, like the A&R guy for Guns N' Roses, and then some tell you do a fucking follow up and your lead singer is a single is going to be leader of the pack.
That is better than this album, though.
Yeah. Okay. Adam, talk to us. Give us some JCM. What do you got?
All right. So, first, according to page 6, John Mellencamp is dating a 46-year-old realtor right now.
He's not even with Meg Ryan anymore?
No.
Location.
She probably listened to Scarecrow.
Right. But I'm a bit mixed on this album. I can't stop thinking of when I was listening to this. I couldn't stop thinking of Born in the USA and how this just seemed like a similar album to it. And there's some gems on the album. I liked Rain on the Scarecrow. I wish more songs were like that on here. Minutes to Memories, Lonely All Night, and Rumble Seat.
Song.
I think were my favorite song there.
Seat's a good one.
But there are just like Anthony said before, there's a lot of lame songs on here. There's the Face of Nation, Justice and Independence, ROCK in the USA. It's just
that's a lame song.
It's pretty lame.
I hate that song.
Okay,
it's pretty lame.
Who's paying homage to American music like Mitch Ryder, Frankie Lyman, Jackie Wilson. Stop.
It would have been better as a punk song, I think.
It would not have been better.
Like
It's
punk
no,
rock
it's
in the
written
USA.
Yeah.
Punk rock in the USA. Fuck you, and then they just leave. Yeah. Well,
And Johnny Rotten has a guest star appearance on this. No,
I think I don't know. You know, I've heard some things about John Mellencamp shows that I didn't like. Apparently, I heard somebody went to go to one of his shows, and he wouldn't play the hits. Like he
That's
wanted
not
to
true.
just. It is true. It's somebody I know.
I've been to his shows.
Well, listen. With this particular show, were you at this show with my friend?
Yes.
He goes
What's
to
your
every
friend's name? I
show.
was there.
So apparently they went to the show and he wanted to do his new album. And so it was like 3 songs into the new album and the whole crowd was yelling like, do the hits. And he was like, fuck you guys. I'm not doing the hits. And like
A lot of bands do that though.
but the crowd started to leave because he wouldn't do Jack and Diane.
How many
Like,
times did Neil Young do that, or Dylan? Maiden did it. A couple albums ago.
I think. Well, I don't think the Stones would do it. So there's certain bands that would never do
The
it.
Stones don't put out new album anymore. Well, that's not true. They do sometimes put out, but they'll also sit there and play for 3+
They're
hours.
also top 5,
yeah.
so it's a whole nother level. That's what I'm saying. It's like certain bands, you know, they give to the fans. You got to give to the fans, you know. That's all. I don't like it that he doesn't do that, you know. And the fact that he gets mad because they call him Cougar, like you're the asshole that signed the contract. Like don't put it on anybody else.
He was bullied into it.
He wasn't bullied into it. He wasn't bullied.
Of course he was.
He could have worked at the fucking Safeway. He had a decision.
He didn't want to work at the Safeway.
Well, then
Well, he sold out.
You go home. If you're
sold
going
out.
to
Piece
work
of
at the
himself.
Safeway,
He
you're
did.
never going
He
to get
sold
Meg
out.
Ryan at any level.
He sold out. He's no different than a Spice Girl. Like he's just
yes,
this
he
thing.
is.
He's this thing they created. So
Spice
it's like,
Girls. Now, I would put on a Spice Girls album before I put
course
this
you
album
would.
on ever again. They had some good songs.
Anybody out there in Twitch land? Anybody? Any K-pop?
Anthony, tell me what you want, what you really, really want.
What you want? That's not Spice Girls, is it?
Yes, of course it
Is
is.
it? Is it Spice Girls?
You think I am?
I thought that's Salt and Pepper. No,
That's salt and
Spice
pepper.
Girls.
Pepper.
Pepper. You gotta say it right, white boy. Pepper. Anything, Adam? No.
Let's see. We got
These K-pop freaks.
Happy Mischief says after you make that money, you change your name all you want. And we got
Shut up. What do you
Prince
change
did the
your name?
opposite.
Yeah.
Just change name
He
for a
took his
different
whole
reason.
name away. It was like, fuck you guys. I'm not a name anymore. I'm just a weird symbol.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You can't make money
good.
off
That's
of me.
smart. That's
It was
stupid.
smart.
Prince is
It's
the
genius.
anti-Mellencamp.
He really is.
It's not like everything Prince put out that was so great. He has some great albums. He also has a lot of clunkers in there too.
Hey, easy. It's like Prince is also like a guy that's so prolific that's why there might be some weird ones. But yeah, I mean,
He's like Billy Corgan.
I wouldn't call it.
Pumpkins
you
have some
can't
great
call it
stuff.
clunkers. Come on, dude. We do stand-up
Yes,
comedy.
clunkers.
You don't think
Oh, yeah.
40% of our act is clunkers because they're
Yes.
trying to fill the time?
Listen, I wish only 45% of mine was clunkers.
We'll make fun of the guy with the shirt in the front row for 4 minutes. Come on, man. We ain't got anything funny to say. All right. Anybody else? Any
Here's
more
a-
dating?
you up
Any
in
more
Poughkeepsie
dating
this
stuff?
weekend,
Any more
Dustin?
dating stuff? Who else did he date?
Well, here's a quote about Scarecrow. It says Scarecrow comes off like a tight Saturday night set played at the local VFW hall.
Who said that? Who said it?
It's on Apple Music.
Oh wow!
Wait.
Is that meant to be a compliment?
Yeah,
I don't know,
Is
but-
it some random guy who doesn't know?
No, that's
Well,
the description for the album.
Oh wow! Well, I just want to say who books that because I will play a VFW in a heartbeat.
Those are good gigs.
I just got booked the headline one in September, and I'm
Exactly.
excited about it.
That's right. We throw that word headline around loosely on this show, and a VFW headline gig is kind of like the guy going longer because it's
That's
you got to
pretty much
follow
it.
you got to follow a raffle and then the entire crowd has coolers. That's what.
Well, I got to pick an opener, so I'm gonna have
There
Ray
you
Boots
go.
come
There you
with
go.
me.
There you go. How's Dabrowski? Okay, but anyway, this is fun. This is good. Get you some John Mellencamp, I guess. What's your favorite? Is this your favorite John Mellencamp album?
Yes, or Lonesome Jubilee.
Okay, all right. I'll fucks with some Mellencamp a little bit more. I'll give him another chance. I'm not just because Anthony's my dude. I'm not gonna, always go down that because he'll shit on some good people sometimes. I'll be like, dude, you need to give it a chance. And he didn't know who Bob Seger was, so we got,
I know the name. I just didn't know
sometimes
he did that.
That's not good enough, Anthony.
Wait, who did Whiskey in a Jar? Was that Bob Seger?
What are you talking about? Whiskey in a Jar?
Yeah, who did that song?
All right, this is getting weird.
That's Thin Lizzy.
All right.
That was Thin Lizzy.
All right, play us out, Anthony. We got to go. One more thing before we go. Adam, do we have any new albums coming out? I think we do. Starts with a P.
Yeah.
Starts with a P. Prince has a new album coming out.
Is it this week or is it? I think it's
coming
next
up.
week.
Okay,
I think it's next week. I think because next week is Record Store Day. I think it's next week.
Give us a little bit of what's coming out. Sorry.
Well, first the 45 RPM adapter that's on your shirt is called a Spider.
Spider.
It's called a Spider.
Spider. All right, cool.
I never knew that.
All right, I'll run through these. We got Beastie Boys, Some Old Bullshit, which was originally released in '94. It's their early EPs recorded in the '80s. They have
the punk stuff.
Yeah, the punk stuff.
That's their punk rock stuff.
And they have some tape segments heard on Noise the Show, popular hardcore radio show.
I probably had She's On It on that album.
Well, I know they have let's see, they got Cookie Puss on it.
Yeah,
and Egg Raid on Mojo. Punk. Yeah.
Yeah, it's all like hardcore punk stuff, and then Cookie Puss, which is like a prank phone call with breakbeats behind it.
Yeah.
But She's On It would be probably a little later on.
Well, that She's On It came out before License to Ill.
Yeah. Was it like a single or something? Just a single?
Yeah, it was released as a single, and then later on put on an EP. So it never really came out on a full-fledged album.
Top 3 greatest live shows I've ever seen in my life: Beastie Boys, Rage Against the Machine, and Bad Religion.
Wow.
That's a good show.
Bam!
Yeah, that's
just
great.
exhausted from like bumping into dudes.
Are you going to go see Rage when they come back around on this new tour?
I would. Yeah, I would. Yeah, I would actually. That's there's a lot of shows. Jeff, we were saying the Struts are going to be in New York. That's great. I might try to make that.
Are you going to come in for that?
I mean, I'm not. I'm actually, the big end of August and a little bit of September. But I might. You might see me show up.
If
I can sleep on your couch.
Let me know if you're in New York, and I'll make sure we get some tickets for that.
Can I sleep in your guest room? Do you have like a?
Yes, you can. Of course, you're crazy.
Cool. All right.
But you're gonna have to listen to John Cougar Mellencamp.
I'm not the one that hates John Cougar.
Have that fucking shit piped.
No, Pat Benatar is. That would be a problem. But
also,
Cougar would be okay.
I broke down. I'm going to be in Hartford in the 3rd week of August, and I'm staying over on that Sunday because I'm going to go and see Kiss.
Oh wow, that's great.
Yeah,
their farewell tour.
It's going to be the 3rd year of that farewell tour. I missed it 3 years ago, so I'm going to go. This is the last opportunity to go see them.
They were great. It was so good. All right, guys. Thank you so much for listening to Dustin's Vinyl. Please follow us on the Instagram at Dustin Vinyl and our Facebook page. And please send us whatever you want about albums and music that we should be getting into, and except K-pop. We don't really want to know anything more about K-pop. But let us know. Keep record stores alive. Buy records. Go to the store. Actually buy them. Don't buy everything on Amazon and all that stuff. They make more money if you buy them in person. Thank you, everybody. Dustin's Vinyl. Play us out, Anthony. What you got?
All right.
Do one of your songs. What do you got?
Oh, should I do one of my songs?
Yeah, do one of your songs.
Okay. All right, I'm doing this one. Comedy songs are never really funny. I find them to be nothing but a bore. You always know just when the joke is coming, because the punchlines have to rhyme with the line before. This is the part you're supposed to laugh at hardest, but this chorus does nothing but disappoint. Comedy songs don't need a second verse. Now it seems the song has gone on too long. Now I'm going sing along. This is the part we sing together. This is the part we sing together. Everybody on Twitch, type it in the chat. This is the part we sing together. This is the part we sing.
Yeah. Thank you, everybody. Great show. We love you. Yeah.
Bye, guys.
Rock and roll. Bye, guys. Woo.
Good night.
Good night.